here we are, Tom. Talk to us a little bit about the black belt mindset.
So, I mean, the black belt essentially is your goal, right? You've hit your goal. What do you do once you hit your goal? What do you do once you reach your goal? It's very hard for some people, right? Many black belts, they stop training once they're black belts. I think it's almost equal that between blue belts and black belts, black belts never officially quit, but they can become very scarce. And I think you have to understand your goal as a black belt is your number one goal has to be to help other people reach the black belt. You've done it. You found the way. You've reached the pinnacle. How do you stay motivated and disciplined to keep showing up? Well, to understand that you are the person that people are walking through the door and they do 100% want to learn from you. They look to you for inspiration and guidance. You owe it to them, right? Be everything that you didn't have and everything that you had. Also, your goals can change. For me personally, my goals were very much competitive based when I was coming up through the ranks. And they were for a long time as a black belt, for over a decade. But now, I'm really not interested in competing too much anymore. I'm interested in teaching, doing my instructionals, traveling the world, doing seminars. My goals have changed, but my presence is still just as felt. I'm still showing up every single day, giving my all. I might not be giving, 10 to 15 live matches, but I'm giving my knowledge. I'm giving my know-how. I'm giving my experience, my mistakes, and my triumphs. I'm explaining them to my students. I'm helping them to learn, and I'm hopefully helping them to learn not to make the same mistakes that I've made. Because mistakes in jiu-jitsu are inevitable, right? They're inevitable. They're gonna happen, but you don't have to make the same mistake over and over again. I believe it's a problem when someone makes the same mistakes over and over and over again. Like, you have to learn from your mistakes. And I believe the ones who progress the fastest are the ones who can make a mistake, learn from it, and not make that same mistake twice. Not revisit the same mistake. As a black belt, you have to help people to understand how not to do that. You are everyone's teacher, basically, as a black belt. Everyone who walks through the door, you are essentially their professor, their teacher. And you owe it to them to stay the best you, to stay the best version of yourself. Even though I'm not competing, I think it's important to stay physically active and physically fit to be an example for other people. I believe in jiu-jitsu, you have an obligation to stay physically fit. I do believe it's important. Not everybody will agree with me, but I do believe it's important. And I especially believe as a black belt. You have to be someone that people look at and say, wow, man, one of the biggest benefits in jiu-jitsu is weight loss. How many times you see people get their black belt and then they just get out of shape, right? But if one of the biggest benefits is weight loss, we cannot be someone that's out of shape. We have to be someone who embodies the meaning of a black belt, right? Strong mind, strong body, strong soul. That doesn't mean, again, and I'm going to revisit the same thing I said before as far as mistakes. You're going to make plenty of mistakes. You don't need to be perfect. You do not need to be perfect in life to wear a black belt around your waist. That doesn't mean you're perfect. But when you step on the mats, you must be an example. And you must understand, even off the mats, the things you're doing, they matter. Because people are looking at you at all times. That's one thing I try to keep in mind. And trust me, I know I make so many mistakes every day. But as a black belt, I try to learn. And as a black belt, you start teaching yourself as well. Like, I could realize the mistakes I'm making, analyze my own matches, and develop a plan on my own to overcome my obstacles. That's one of the beauties of becoming a black belt. You start understanding not just the technical aspect and the timing aspect, you start understanding plans. You start understanding, the difference between offense and defense is very minimal. What do I mean by that is, everybody knows defense, everybody knows offense. But a black belt could switch between defense and offense, back to defense, back to offense, seamlessly. All right? And that's really what's important. And as a black belt, staying with the times, understanding that the game is ever evolving and ever changing, and you must do so. There are so many black belts, man, that get caught up in their own. It's so weird to me, man. Like, you see a lot of old time black belts, they want to talk bad about jiu-jitsu nowadays. Why? Why for what? Like, I could sit here and I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, if you would have asked me, a year ago when I was still actively competing, how I felt about other competitors, I would give respect, but in my mind, I would, of course, believe I have the ability to beat anyone. Now, as a black belt, someone who's not really competing that much, I look at the divisions in ADCC. People say, "Are you sad that you're not competing in the next Abu Dhabi? You're just reffing." No, I'm not sad at all. Not one part of me wants to be in that division with all these young kids that are training 4 times a day. I don't want to do it, and I'm okay with that. Because I have different goals. My goals aren't to beat every single person who's in front of me. My goals are to help. My goals are to teach. So while those young black belts may have, physicality under control, and they may be able to dominate certain aspects on the mats, I'm sure if I sat across from them, I could teach them a lot about jiu-jitsu and life in general because of the lessons that I've already went through, right? I'm not trying to go in there and beat everybody up. I'm trying to go in there and help everybody learn. And I believe as a black belt, we have to have that mindset. The growth mindset, right? Not just for yourself, but for others. Helping other people to understand why jiu-jitsu is for them. Helping the other people understand that there is more to life than jiu-jitsu, of course, but how do we carry jiu-jitsu into every aspect of life to improve? As a black belt, we have to know that. And we have to be able to properly pass that down. Knowledge without the ability to share is useless. Truly, it dies with you. When you die, so does your knowledge. For me, I always wanted to find a way to make my name carry on forever. The only way to do that is to teach, right? Because, hey, I learned this from so-and-so. I learned this from Jim. I learned this from Bob. I learned this from Tom. Your knowledge is infinite. It just keeps going forever. And as a black belt, we really, really, really have to understand that. It's not about who you can beat. It's about how many people can you help. How many people could you get through to, and how many people can you change for the better.